In the main dining salon, two long, shiny, gimbaled tables rocked gently back and forth, while the kerosene lamps overhead moved with the same rhythm. In the cabins, each bunk had its own navy wool blanket, ticking stripped pillow, and white-enabled washbin. In the galley was an enormous iron coal stove that took up half the room. Everywhere was the smell of pine tar, varnish, and damp salt air. Oh, fuck. See my foot. By the time they had to leave, the black dog had found her favorite spots, while the captain went forward to check the anchor chain. The little black dog jumped all by herself through the open gun port into the waiting skiff below. "Well, what do you know?" he exclaimed. "You're not a house dog, you're a sea dog." And for the first time since Eddie brought the wet little bundle into the house, the captain gave the black dog a nice big pat. Her tail wagged faster and wider than ever. From then on, the captain and the black dog went out to the Shenandoah nearly every day. The crew liked having her on board. She knew where to go when the boat was coming about. She knew which side was to leeward and which was to windward. She knew which portholes had bunks right beneath them, so she could get below by herself. She was never any trouble, and never in the way. One day, the captain left the black dog at home while he went to a meeting at the town hall. When he got back, he found a note on the kitchen table. "Good news, Captain Douglas. My daughter from New York was here and just fell in love with your black dog. She had to take it to the 2 o'clock ferry, and we couldn't find you, so we took her. I knew you wouldn't mind. If it doesn't work out, she promised to find you another home. Marnia Winslow." The captain read the note over and over. He had forgotten all about Mrs. Winslow's daughter. They'd taken the black dog to New York City. He looked at the empty place by the stove and the shred of sail he'd given her to chew on. He looked at the clock. It was 1:45. Down on the steamboat dock, Bernie was surprised to see the black dog in the back seat of a lady's car. "Hey, you taking the captain's pup home with you?" he asked, as he reached in to pet his friend. "Yes," replied the woman politely. "She's my new watchdog." "Well, I didn't think he'd do it, but good luck to you," he sighed, and waved her onto the ferry. As the last car was being loaded, Bernie glanced down the beach and saw the captain hurrying towards them. The ferry sounded its horn, and the man on the dock threw off the thick ropes, but the captain started waving his arms. Bernie knew something was wrong. Then he understood. "Hold it," he shouted. "Stop the engines." He disappeared aboard the ferry, shaking his head and muttering. A few minutes later, Bernie reappeared with the black dog, squirming in his arms. "Guess I got something here that belongs to you," he said, handing the captain the excited pup. "There's only one problem." "What's that?" asked the captain, still little out of breath. "If you're going to keep her, you have to name her." The captain jutted out his lower jaw. The black dog licked it. "That's easy," he said. "I'm going to call her Black Dog. That's what she's used to, and it suits her just fine." Well, that's the end of that book. Peace, do the YouTube stuff, subscribe, like, all that stuff. All the